Welcome to Return to You. I'm Sid, and this is the podcast for anyone who's ever lost themselves and is ready to find their way back. Every episode, I sit down with real people who've faced the hardest chapters life can throw at you and come out the other side with something to say. Real stories, honest conversations, no filter. Whoever you are, wherever you're at in life right now, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
When I was a kid, I made a vow of silence to shrink my voice because I no longer felt safe to be myself. We all have an inner critic, but no one is ever taught about this inner critic. For some, it's really loud. For others, the critic is quiet. And for the longest time, I think we learn to coexist with this voice that lives inside of us, who taunts us, who is so ugly and horrible for the words they speak to us. And I did not understand why that was. I literally could not get to grips with what this was. No one talks about it. And I just thought the words that I kept speaking over myself was just the way it was. I didn't understand that actually it was learnt behavior. I was penalizing myself because of what I had heard in the environments around me. Now, you may just think that is your conscious surroundings, but here's what you don't understand. Between the ages of when you were born to the age of, I would say 7 is meant to be the official age that your subconscious is formed, but I would definitely go right up until your teens because you're still learning these behaviors. However, your hardwired programming happens in those core stages of 0 to 7. And what happens there is because your brain hasn't really wired itself yet, it's absorbing everything. It's absorbing how people react to certain situations. It's absorbing tonality. It's absorbing what's celebrated. It's absorbing everything. Your brain at that age is like a sponge. Now, even if you were raised in a really great home environment, you can't actually stop absorbing the environments that you might witness in a park, how you witness a child being treated by another parent, or what you're seeing on TV. I don't know. TV wasn't a really big thing back in my day. I had a VHS with Rosie and Jim on it. But you do absorb your environments. And so that's to say, when you are wiring your subconscious mind, that becomes your internal hard drive. That becomes like the gauge point that your human brain goes to. Now, your subconscious mind is not a one and done thing, but it's not talked about either. I have, in the last 10 years, done so much research and learning about how to rewire the subconscious mind because I knew with my background, how I left home at 16, the beliefs, the things I had to experience and endure, and the pain that I had to overcome, and all of these beliefs, I knew that they were going to be in there somewhere, right? I knew that these are things that would become my demons and become my worst enemy if I didn't check it out and figure it out and actually unpick all of those neurons and rewire it for success. I recently put a poll on my Instagram, and one of the things that was such a common thread was how to manage intrusive thoughts. And I thought that was so interesting because for me, I've literally had that inner critic for the longest time, but a switch flipped. Couldn't tell you when that switch flipped, but I can tell you I remember the moment my cheerleader showed up for me. And I spoke to a client about this about 10 years ago now. And that was a pivoting moment because I go back to that moment so many times when I realized that my inner cheerleader was there and suddenly the critic had shrunk its voice. Back then, I was living in London and I was taking the tube wherever I was going. And I think it was the Waterloo underground station because that's got quite a lot of escalators up. And a friend of mine had said to me she'd started walking up all of the flights of the escalators to get her cardio in. Now, I thought that's a really great idea. So I thought, I'm going to try. I was so unfit. And my relationship with exercise back then was not good. I had a terrible relationship with exercise. There was a lot of fear and limitations around it. And that's a story for another day, which I've had to do therapy on. Side note here, if you are finding yourself in the most ridiculous spiral with exercise and you don't know how to unlock it and how to change that, know that sometimes it might just be a piece of therapy to change that, because your nervous system and your brain has wired and wired in a way that feels bad. And I had to unpick a belief around this. So I want to share that because it's come to me. I can't ignore that. For me, I didn't realize how bad it was. And it was not anything bad. It was that I was never good at sport as a kid. I wasn't. And some kids just aren't athletic. And then you've got the kids that are. But it was a sports day. And I remember my dad saying, don't worry about it. Just go out and have fun. You'll never, and I can't remember how he said it, but he would have said it in such an innocent manner, basically saying, like, you're not an athlete. You don't want to be an athlete. So it doesn't really matter. Just give it your best shot and enjoy it. That's the essence of what he was saying. But meanwhile, I internalized that dialogue as you're not good enough, you're not strong enough, it's not possible for you. And as well, being a female in an Asian community, I grew up with a culture, women weren't really raised to be athletic. I wouldn't say that just from my family background. I would actually say that from a lot of females in millennials, we weren't celebrated for these things. We're only seeing female athletes really thrive in the last 20 years. And that says a lot, right? Anyway, I digress. I then unpicked it, did some healing around it, and I've been going to the gym without fear. And yeah, I've got such a different relationship with exercise now. So back to where we were going. So the moment I remember for my inner cheerleader was when I was walking up the escalator from London Waterloo, I believe, and I was not fit. This was me trying to get myself into a peak state of trying to do one consistent thing in my day to build that compound effect of showing up in that manner, because I knew by doing that every time, whatever underground station I was on, it would move the needle. And I was so unfit and my calves were hurting. And I think I was on my second escalator. And instead of where my inner critic would usually be saying, you're not strong enough. Why are you even trying? Why are you not giving up? Just give up already. Who are you trying to impress? You're not good enough like this. You might as well stop. Stop before you're going to hurt yourself. That would be the voice of my inner critic in those moments, because it would fearmonger me into not even trying. It would fearmonger me into believing that I wasn't capable. But instead, the inner cheerleader showed up for me that day and was like, you have got this. Put your head down and focus on the step in front of you. Do not look up the escalator, just the next step, and keep taking that next step. And you keep going. You've got this. Keep going. You've got this. Come on. That's it. You're doing it. You're doing it. Keep going. Just the next step, the next step. You've got this. Keep going. Keep going. And before I knew it, I was at the top of the escalator and I couldn't fucking believe that I had made it to the top without passing out. I really thought I was going to get, because I think I'd done lots of really high escalators at that point. And after my second, I really thought I was going to pass out. And I just thought, what am I trying to prove? But by the time I got to the top, I realized something, that my mind was so much stronger than the beliefs, the words that I was speaking over myself. And that for me, for the first time in my life, was the moment I realized that I had overcome this inner critic. I had been able to shut and put a lid on it. And that was such, oh God, that was such an incredible moment for me. That's become my escalator story. My cheerleader showed up for me that day and showed me who the fuck I truly am. Not this inner critic, not this inner chimp that's always on at me, giving me a hard time, telling me that I'm not good enough, telling me that why would people listen to me? Why am I trying to do XYZ? You've been told that you can't do that. You've been told that you're not lovable. You've been told that you're not good enough. All of these things and scenarios and all of this stuff that could come up and has come up in plenty of times in the past, it just wasn't there anymore. The noise was no longer there, and it felt so freeing. And before that, I started reading lots of different things around brain rewiring and just doing my research on how to rewire my brain for success, because I was so sick and tired of the imposter syndrome, of the intrusive thoughts that would land in my brain and corrode my confidence. It was just like drinking poison. I was taking in this Kool-Aid of poison, and it was corroding my mind. And I just, every time I felt like I was taking a step forward, that critic got so loud, it felt like whatever I was doing was just wasn't working, until it starts working. And this is the thing that I really need you to just understand. You can't do the thing once and expect to have success. I was showing up every morning for 12 months, listening to the same audios, reading the same books, listening to the same affirmations. I was brainwashing my brain every day. And don't get me wrong, I didn't believe half the things that I was listening to at the beginning, but I was just doing the reps. I was putting the reps in. I had blind faith that this must be doing something, because there is so much evidence of it working. And so if other people are saying it's working, and I've got nothing to lose, and all it's going to really take me is discipline to try, how desperate am I? Am I really wanting to change my life and change how I think and change how I speak to myself, or not? And the reality was, I was so desperate to just get out of this loop of self destruction. The noise was getting so loud, it felt suffocating. And so with the repetition that I was doing, I was not realizing it back then, but I was rewiring the brain neurons. And the more I was doing it, the more the noise got quieter. And you don't see it overnight. You literally are doing the reps and you're like, I don't think this is working. I keep doing this. Is it doing anything? Until one day where you're put in a position and the thing that you expect to happen doesn't happen anymore. And you're like, wow, shit, that worked. And that is literally the thing that I want you to get your head around. You might be doing the thing over and over again. You're doing the reps. You have to do the reps without expecting any results. That is the key. And naming your monkey brain. I read an incredible book, The Chimp Paradox. It is so good. Dr. Stephen Peters explains how the mind has two voices. Your voice, which is always going to be supportive, it's going to be calm, it's going to be kind, it's going to be a reason. And then you've got your chimp voice, which is going to be erratic, it's going to be mean, it's going to tell you you can't, it's going to look for things and reasons why you don't do the thing because it's protecting you. Except it's not, it's just holding you small, because when you play small, you feel safe. And so oftentimes, so many of us shrink ourselves and play small so we don't sit in the discomfort of growing. And the thing that I'm really learning on my own journey right now, I'm showing up online so much more. I'm learning content creation. I'm learning the art of speaking. I'm learning how to podcast. I'm learning how to edit. I am learning so much stuff on top of a full-time job, which I am trying to balance my mental health because I burnt out last year and a job. And so it feels disgustingly icky. The cringe is cringing. I am having to learn how to regulate my nervous system on another level. And the reason I say that is because I want to be raw and honest with you, because I feel like this picture perfect world that people build and curate makes it so unattainable for everyday people that are looking to actually take a step forward and bet on themselves. And the reality is, these things that you do, for me, this has been 10 years in the making. I have been building on everything that I've learned. I've taken pause because I was not able to take that step forward. And that's the thing that you need to understand. Don't compare your journey to somebody else, but learn to not judge the thoughts in your mind, because the thoughts are doing their thing. They're bullying you. That's an intrusive thought, is just a bully. You are speaking those words to you, but that is no shade on you. So you have to see yourself with kindness. The easiest thing to do is to name that voice. When I read the Chimp Paradox, the name that came to me for mine was Boris. And I hated that I picked that name. But I've stuck with it because Boris is stuck. It was the first name that came to my mind. It annoyed me. And it was just like, ugh. And Boris, whenever Boris used to just pipe up, I'd be like, shut the up, Boris. It's not your turn. Wait till I ask you for your opinion and then. So naming your chimp mind is one of the first things I'd recommend you do, because you no longer internalize that as your own, and you recognize it as an external voice that does not belong to you. Because the voice that does belong to you is the kindness, your essence, your love, your light, the way you breathe and speak life over your people, the way you should be speaking life over yourself. Now, if Boris spoke all of those horrible words to my friends would not be my friends. They just would not like me. And so if I wouldn't speak those words to my friends, I should not be speaking those words to myself, because it's so harmful. So if you're not outwardly going to say that to someone else, you should not be saying that to yourself either. There is no place on earth that you are allowed to speak to yourself like that. So I want to give you some actionable steps, because what I want some of these shorter episodes to be, although I feel like this is going to be a long one, is actionable. So first things first, you're going to listen to a daily affirmation audio for the next 12 months. If you can't commit to 12 months, commit to listening to it for the next 90 days and see how that is for you. I'm going to link that in the footnotes so you can go to that and listen to that every morning. I want you to brainwash yourself into believing that you're capable. The second thing I want you to do is write an affirmation, and it's going to be simple. I like myself. As stupid as that sounds, not everyone likes themselves. And if you're listening and you've tuned into this episode, you are suffering with that inner critic. You are suffering with that intrusive thought. I like myself is a really good affirmation to start, because chances are you don't truly like yourself or believe that you're worthy, and we have to fix that. And to begin with, you're not gonna feel into it, but the more you repeat it, the more you start seeing the pieces of yourself that you do like, the easier it's going to be. And then you'll start writing it down, pen to paper. Pen to paper is doing something up here. When you're typing, you're not using the same brain receptors. When you're physically writing pen to paper, it's firing or wiring your brain neurons in a completely different manner. So writing down an affirmation, and then we're going to tap. We're going to do a tapping round now. I want you to introduce EFT tapping into your day-to-day life because it is the simplest and free tool that you can implement. I have some paid offerings and I do one-to-one coaching where I personalize and work with shifting some of the biggest stuff that you may be needing help to identify to move forward and break the loops that are holding you back. But it's a tool that has been free and available. And that's how I started on my journey. And honestly, it's incredible when you start learning it and you see how much it can shift the release, you're regulating your nervous system. It's incredible. So, tapping along. Now, we're going to do a round of tapping now. So, please, if you're driving, hit pause and come back to this later when you are stationary and when you are present in the moment. You might be listening to this on your commute. So, definitely save this episode so you can come back to it over again. So, we're going to do a round of tapping to release that inner critic. You are just going to repeat after me and repeat the statements after me. So, we're going to start on the karate chop. Even though my inner critic bullies me, it makes me feel like I'm not good enough. It tells me some of the most horriblest things. It bullies me. And I really hate the way it makes me feel. I know it's my chimp just trying to protect me, trying to keep me small so I don't take risk, because taking risk is being seen. And when you're seen, that's when we get hurt. And I know I've been scared of being seen. I've been scared of being judged. I've been scared for so long to use my voice, to trust myself. Those intrusive thoughts that creep in, I'm releasing those now. I'm choosing to release intrusive thoughts at a cellular level. Thoughts known to me and unknown to me. I forgive myself. I choose to see myself with love and compassion. Okay, we're going to move to the eyebrow point, so the inner eyebrow. We're moving up to the side of the eyebrow. This voice can be so loud sometimes. Under the eye. It's not truth though. It's just my chimp. Under the nose. I don't have to fight it. Under the lip. But I don't need to believe everything it says. On the collarbone. I release these intrusive thoughts. They shrink with every tap. I release them now. It's safe for me to take up space. It's safe for me to trust myself. I release the need to shrink. My human mind is calm. It's capable. And I trust it. I trust that I can handle it myself. Under the arm. I release it now. That inner critic. Top of the head. I release the need to shrink myself to feel safe. In eyebrow. I get to take up space and trust my voice. Side of the eye. It feels good to feel good. Under the eye. My inner cheerleader is getting louder and louder. Under the nose. It's starting to feel so good to hear that cheerleader. under the lip. I trust myself to stay consistent. Collarbone. Every step forward I take frees me from the grasp of those intrusive thoughts and my inner critic. I am safe. I am worthy. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I trust my voice. I trust my thoughts. And I release any self-criticism at a cellular level. It is no longer my truth. Intrusive thoughts no longer come into my being. And when they do, I just witness it for what it is. The need to protect me without any truth attached to it. I see it. I acknowledge it. And I lovingly let it go now. Top of the head. I am enough just as I am. And it gets to be good for me because everything is always working out for me. I trust myself today and every day now. I am safe and all is well. Take a deep breath in through your nose and release. Another deep breath in through your nose and release. And one more deep breath in. Come back to that as many times as you need to. Remember, it's not ever one and done. Repetition is key. And every time you are shifting the layer beyond the next layer, beyond the next layer. You are worthy because you are. And that critic, just meet it with compassion. It's just been here to try and protect you, to love you, because the world has taught you being seen is unsafe. Those intrusive thoughts, that inner critic is no longer yours to hold. And remember, we want to repeat the same affirmations for the next 90 days. Write down, I like myself for the next 90 days. And tap along as many times as you need to. If you can make it every day, make it every day. And I've got a tapping bundle that's $10 that you can download that has an array of different tapping videos to tap into various things that you want to clear. If you have any questions or you want me to do a specific tapping round for you, I will do some more through the podcast episodes. So feel free to email me, hello@withsid.com, and I will be sure to read through your messages. And if you have a shift, let me know. And a release, you may cry, you may yawn. That's all normal things. Drink lots of water. Remember to ground your energy and be extra kind to yourself. Because when you're doing the deeper work, it's going to be filled with ups and downs. So practicing kindness to self is the most important thing when you're doing deep nervous system regulation work. I'm so proud of you. I'll see you on the next episode.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Return to You. I hope something in today's conversation stayed with you, even if it's just one thought to carry into your week. Sometimes that's all it takes. If this resonated, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't yet, leave a review. It takes 30 seconds and it means everything for getting this show in front of the people who need it the most. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere you listen. Come find me on Instagram and tell me, what are you returning to? Until next time, keep coming back to yourself.